We're streaming streamers.
We're streaming streamers.
Yeah, we're streaming streamers.
Good,
Oh, they're introducing themselves. They are. I mean, everybody introduce themselves, starting on the right.
Oh, sweet. What up, front stage?
I got anti-shine in the bag.
So I think the topic is streamers working with developers to stream their and expose their.
Okay, sure. I can kick it off kind of. I mean, if you're a developer and you're looking for like streamers to kind of like, check out your game and stream it, like the first step I think is like there's thousands of streamers at any point on Twitch, right? Like how do you find the people that would be like most receptive? Like it might be tempting to kind of like, just like send a message to like the top 50 concurrent like, streamers on Twitch and just pray that someone gets back to you, but that might not be the most like feasible approach. I feel like you want to go into sections where there are games that are like similar to like yours in terms of like, what you're going for, the audience that you're going for. And then look at those streamers, hop in the channel for a second, check out their clips, and then from there send out like a personalized note. Have your template, first line though, personalized, going like, hey, saw your clip with so-and-so playing X, I'm making a game called X, would you like to check it out? And that's it. And like hit up that list and and feel it out. You'll get some responses and I'll respond to that stuff. And I feel like that's a valuable way to kind of start and find, a few streamers at least that might want to check out your stuff and work with you on that.
Have we started? Oh, we've started. Hey, welcome everybody. All right, welcome. How about we start with intros before we jump right into
sorry.
it? Is there a camera anywhere? Where am I looking? Oh, hey. Okay, cool. We're live on Twitch. My name is Omar Shakir. I'm the narrative director at Avalanche Studios, located in Soho of New York City. I'm here with a bunch of great and fantastic people over at Play NYC, and we're going to talk about a bunch of things, mostly rotating around the streamer theme, I think. I think this is where this is going. Let's start with this side of the table where everybody can introduce themselves to the people over at Twitch.
Hi, my name is Ghost, aka GhostZoneGaming on Twitch, and I am what you call a RP streamer, Twitch RP, and I've been doing this for now, a year and a half now, full-time as a partner, so yeah. I love doing it. It's a dream come true.
All right, my name is Andre. I run a production company by the name of Bifuteki. I'm well known in the fighting game community, but I'm also doing a lot of other things, kind of like this Play NYC production here, and things like that. I'm doing the main stage as well as having my team do this panel room. So that's pretty much what I do on Twitch.
For those of you who don't know, Bifuteki means beefsteak in Japanese.
Yes.
And now you're all hungry.
My name is Libby. I go by Askesienne on Twitch. I am I guess, category-wise, I'm kind of blanket variety, stuff like interactivity with chat. I also manage a stream team of about 80 women called Team, and our whole goal is to bring specifically female streamers together on the platform to elevate and empower each other, because whatever your gender may be, Twitch tends to be competition, even though we say it's not. So our idea, especially with women, is to make sure that we're all on the same page, bringing everybody up. That's what I do in my daily job.
My name is Chris. I go by FutureMan, /FutureManGaming, and I've been full-time streaming for a couple years now. My stream is a little different than other streams in that I have the jumpsuit and I'm from the future.
Futuristic sunglasses. Futuristic sunglasses.
Back in time to save the world from video games in the future, and just a different way for the mad people in a very crowded market out there.
Yeah, it's a civil service, really.
Right.
We appreciate it. We appreciate everything you do for us.
Cool. And I'm Swiftor. I stream a lot of games, but I focus on community-based games, interactive streams, like interacting a lot. And I'll be doing this for almost, I think, 10 years in February. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, glad to be here.
Nice. Awesome. So I think I think we were streaming at the beginning of this when we thought we were just warming up. But it seemed like the topic that we that was being asked, or that Swiftor was nice enough to divulge to us, was how to get into streaming, how to become a streamer. And maybe we can go around the table and everybody can give a little bit of their past experiences, how they got started, what they do to build their brand, if there's such a thing as building their brand, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I started as a viewer, right? Watching streams and watching YouTube and trying to, I guess, enjoy myself watching gaming content, because I was really bad at things, so I watched content to get good at things and was still bad at things, and just fell in love with the aspect of this live streaming, there's this community that's in front of you. These people are right there watching your fails, and they're with you when you accomplish something. And I was just like, I just fell in love with the whole premise of it. And it was, I failed a lot. Those days where you just feel like, but.
Not everyone's got the disrespect.
But it's, I watched the streamer, his name is Wahab, and I was going through something in my life, personal life, and he saw me do some stuff in the past on YouTube, and then he was like, yo, you should really try streaming on Twitch. You should really go over there, and you're funny, you got some, you're charismatic, go do that, go do that. And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, no, go do it. And it's been 3 years that I started streaming, 1 year now partnered, and I don't think I can do anything else. Do this full time now, and I'm just love it. Every day somebody new in chat that says something that you're like, wow, did you just say that? And there's sometimes you walk in chat and you're like, man, like this is crazy, and it's always a new experience, and it's just I don't know, it's life changing when you finally decide to do it, full time, and I guess that's how I feel.
I'm getting the feels. I'm definitely getting the feels. Yeah. Andre?
For me, it's kind of weird because now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually been like 10 years since I've actually got into it. I've always been a part of the fighting game community, going to fighting game tournaments, and I remember it was like 10 or 11 years ago back in Philadelphia. We went to this tournament called Summer Jam, which we just recently did the 11th installment of it just this year, which is like under a new name and whatever. But I went to the event and I was noticing like, okay, there's one guy over here, his name is King Spooky. He's here by himself streaming one game, but yet at these tournaments you have about 12 games going on. So I sat there and I was like, okay, there needs to be another streamer here. There needs to be someone else who's handling this stuff. So I talked to the organizer and said, hey, let me, come to this next tournament, set up, broadcast this for you guys, things like that. And he was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And we did that. And that's pretty much how I pretty much got my start doing what it is that I do now, that got me all around the world pretty much. I think I've been to Canada, United States, the Caribbean, South America, and I haven't touched Europe yet, but soon.
Sign me up for whatever event gets me to go to the Caribbean. I will come with you. So my background, actually, before I started streaming, was in competition robotics. Competition robotics. It's a weird thing. I always have to repeat it. But I have been doing effectively media production hosting work for essentially high school battle bots. A little bit nicer. They don't break each other, but the idea was, bringing kids together, inspiring them to go into science technology. And I did hosting and casting and media stuff through them. And I've always been a gamer since I was like a little kid, and I would skip doing homework and play World of Warcraft. My mom didn't know because I would turn the monitor off when she walked by. Not even kidding. But
none of us have ever done that.
No.
None of us here.
But I was the same way. I started as a viewer. I had content creators that I was like, oh, I'm interested in. I would find people like, I'm interested in buying that game, but I don't know if I want to go for it yet. Let me watch a streamer, or I just have a friend or something like that. And just through knowing other streamers, kind of the same thing of like, hey, you have experience doing this, and you're funny, you're fun. You might not be good at the game, but you're funny, and and the idea of like you should give it a try. And I think that's where a lot of people get their start, is just someone gives them the seed of, hey, you might be pretty entertaining at doing this, and then one day they just hit go live, and like the tech isn't there, and the graphics aren't there, and the entertainment value isn't there, but they just do it. And that's kind of what I did, and I've been doing it I will be 2 years in December. I think I'm the baby of the group, and I think I'm also the only non-partner of the group. So I will defer to y'all.
Don't feel bad. I streamed pretending I knew how to green screen the whole time with no lighting on my
Oh
green
no!
screen.
Brown screen.
I was like, why?
The nice like static behind you on the
Yeah,
green
like,
screen.
what's going on?
That's good luck.
So Future Man, you actually, I mean, you've got the long view since you're from the future.
Right.
So you can tell us where this is going to go, where it's
Also,
been,
by going back in
what we've
time,
learned.
I've changed.
Right.
features.
You've
I
also
can't
right
tell you everything,
irrevocably
you know what I'm saying?
yes,
Like,
altered
I'm
everything.
altering the shitty parts.
Right.
Thank you, Future Man.
Yeah, for me, I remember first seeing people creating video game content on YouTube like 10 years ago. People talking while they were playing Call of Duty or whatever, Minecraft, all that stuff. I thought it was awesome. I was subscribed to a bunch of different YouTubers, and I remember thinking to myself, and I think a lot of content creators have the same thought, where you're just like, oh, that's easy, I could do that. And then it's not very easy, and well, it's easy and it's not. So it's easy to get yourself a microphone and record the gameplay and upload it, but to actually gain a following and get people to tune in takes consistency, a lot of consistency, and you have to be entertaining and all the above. And I was like, I was in my head, I was like, I want to do that, but then I was busy with life, you know, and I ended up not doing it. And I remember always looking back in the years following, after seeing these guys kind of blow up to astronomical numbers, millions of subscribers and stuff like that. I remember, shit. Like, can I curse? I don't know.
You did.
Okay.
We can't take it back. So can we rewind the stream? Oh wait, we can't do that. That doesn't exist. Right. 5 seconds.
Darn it. Damn.
Yeah.
So I remember being like, oh man, missed opportunity. And then in like 2013, I found this website called Twitch, which I was even late to the game because when did Justin TV start? Like
2007?
2007. When did you find it, Twitch?
2008.
2008. You were streaming then?
Yep.
Yeah, I had no idea. So I remember looking for Battlefield 3 years now.
That's right.
And so I stumbled upon this website, and I think a lot of people have the same reaction. Like, what is this? This is crazy. I mean, even someone who loves video games, you know, grew up playing video games my whole life. It's so funny when you tell people about streaming on Twitch. It just blows their mind. You think like, oh, why would people what?
Exactly, right?
They don't get it. But so I understand that, because I remember when I first found Twitch, even I was like, what the hell is this? But I, like everybody else, is finally now I can do it, you know? I missed the opportunity with YouTube, and I'm gonna give it a shot. So I started streaming as
Okay. All right. Work in progress. Work in progress.
yeah.
We're
That was actually,
testing the waters with
testing
names.
the waters,
Yeah. Right.
That was
Cross
bad.
that one off
Yeah, cross that
real
one off,
quick.
but, not a lot of thought went into that. That was just like, I need a username because I'm a viewer on chat. It was from a Key and Peele skit.
Yeah. All makes sense.
All makes sense.
All makes
right?
sense. Yep.
I don't see how that didn't work. I don't know.
No.
But what I found was that, okay, I'm streaming this game at this time, and I've got 2 viewers, and I could stream for 8 hours, maybe, whatever. And how many people click on my stream? You know, because the way that Twitch is set up, you've got 2,000 viewers. People click on that game, they're gonna probably click more the first 1 or 2 streams. And so I was like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? You know? So I was actually working as a teacher at the same time, and so I was just doing a lot of this in my free time. And I was like, well, what if when they click the stream, they see a guy in a jumpsuit from the future? They might not like it, you know. You're not gonna win them all, but you're at least gonna get an extra 30 seconds, maybe a minute. You know.
Was there a moment? Hold on. Let's just back up for a second. Was there a moment when you were Power Falcon, that you were like, I could dress up like a Power Falcon and see what, or did we just segue right into Future Man? Like, was there ever a moment?
Power Falcon got ditched.
Okay, we abandoned ship on Power Falcon. Okay, please continue. Yes.
The Power Falcon was sort of the time where I learned the tech side of it. It was actually a very important time for me to figure out how to stream. Because, you look at it, you say it's easy, but it's actually pretty tough balancing chat. When you have not very many viewers, it's easier to maintain, but it does take some getting used to, sort of, even when there's not a lot of people watching, you want to be constantly, explaining what's going on, trying to be entertaining, whatever streamer you want to be. And so for the couple months that I streamed, a couple times a week when I got off work, it was very important to figure out the tech side of things, which apparently the tech is way easier than it used to be.
Yes.
So that's good.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with 3 different applications.
I probably not.
So you mentioned something that I kind of want to come back to around the table, but first I want to get to Swiftor.
Yeah.
But you want to be entertaining. Let's hold on to that thought
Yeah.
for a second, and let's come back to that, because that's something I'm sure everybody really wants to understand a little bit more about what that means when it comes to streaming. But Swiftor, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
We'll knock out mine real quick. So a friend of mine was like playing games with Justin TV. He's like, come watch me play video games. I told him that was dumb. But I went there because I was his friend. And it wasn't dumb. It was cool hanging out, watching him play these games. He had his camcorder pointed at his TV. It was still a really cool experience. So I went out to Radio Shack, got myself the $10 microphone and
that first stream?
Yeah, I was really excited to do it. I was super introverted. I'm like, this could be a cool way to interact with people and build off that and have fun. And I was able to build something cool, and here I am. So
Nice. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for your stories of how you got to where you are. So, Future Man had mentioned you want to be entertaining, and I think that's kind of an interesting topic because I still don't quite understand what that means as a streamer. So what does that mean? Does that mean you want to put on a show? Because I feel like when I watch streamers, a part of what resonates the most with me is sort of the honesty. You are who you are, and people enjoy watching you play a game or anything else. But lately, I have noticed some trends in putting on more of a show, so to speak. So maybe we can kind of go around and talk a little bit about what that means.
So on the entertainment aspect, so I'm a what you call a role player type streamer. I used to be a variety because when you first start, not everybody knows the niche. The niche means your game, that thing you're good at all the time, that gets attention from the crowd. So I was hopping from game to game to game, and I wasn't seeing anything. And then you get into a funk when you see that number's always 0. That number's 1. That number's 3. You stream 16 hours. That number's you and your bot, and you're always like, why am I not being discovered? What's going on? And you start evaluating, okay, what's fun? What's going to work? And being yourself is the number one thing. People say that's just, it's so whatever. But it's the truth. People want to see you. They want to see, they want to hear you. They want to know that you're a real person, that you're not just, from my experience, you're not just I don't know, this made up person. You're somebody that, you have a cool handle. Yeah, you have a cool personality. But they want people to I don't know, they like to gravitate to actual people. And that's that. But then I'm a role player now, so I play completely different people. So it's different for me. So I play a character called Joey Bag of Bronuts. He's a criminal justice lawyer in Los Santos now, and and it's been working for me. That's insane how doing that type of role play streaming has become my niche, where I didn't know it was going to be, because I was watching I don't know if everybody else watches Sheriff Eli, and this guy's freaking amazing, and all these other amazing RPs like Mr. Moon and stuff like that, and I was like, man, I love acting. I would love to do that. If I wasn't streaming, I would be trying to become an actor in New York and be bad at that. But I was trying my best to figure out what would work. And when I walked into the Twitch RP community, it was ding. It's just one of those things where it worked. So I was entertaining. I was being myself because I was being who I am. I love to just be acting and stuff like that. And people appreciated it. They loved it. Okay, what's gonna happen with Joey today? Oh my God, Joey's broken up with his girlfriend today. Oh Lord, who's after him now? It's just one of those it became this episodic thing, and it happens every day, and at least 6 days a week, and that's an entertaining aspect when it comes to what I do and what people love to see when it comes to me.
What would you say the time frame was from when you portrayed the character to it being popular?
I will tell you this.
Weeks, months, hours, days?
It took, I've been streaming 3 years. 2 years, I had no idea exactly what my niche was. I was what I would call a variety network kind of guy. I was traveling every convention. As a matter of fact, Swiftor has a Twitch to the streamer meetup that he has here in NYC, and that's how I met more people that like me, like streamers and content creators and vloggers and people that do YouTube. And I networked from that. And I learned and I listened and I joined other communities to learn and stuff like that. And after I started hearing stories is when I started searching. Okay, what am I good at? What can I be good at? And once I started my Twitch RP thing. Everybody's different, but literally from 10 to 15 viewers now, I am like 100 plus. That's 3 months. But that doesn't happen for everybody, and somebody does always more, of course. But it is different for everyone. But I'm saying when you start working hard at something, you be dedicated for it, and you're ready to work for it, you eventually will see a positive result. I've always thought that. So I've always been a hard worker. I've traveled everywhere. So yeah. So it depends. For me, it was like 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months. Cool.
For me, it's kind of different because I basically travel all around doing different types of events. The one key that I like to keep on myself is making sure that my presentation and the product that I'm delivering to everyone at home is clean and is good enough for TV. One thing I pride myself on is I'm able to do multiple things pretty much all by myself sometimes. I have my lovely wife that helps me, I have Tanya that helps me and things like that. But they don't get to travel with me to every single event, so we always add like new elements that I can basically do myself. Something like instant replay and player interviews after matches and things like that is something that I've been adding over the last 1.5 years actually. And I would say that's pretty much what I do to keep everyone entertained, is to try to give them the same delivery as they would have with like a NBA game or an NFL or boxing or something like that.
So it's more of a consummate approach. Like you want that it is a product, it is a thing. It needs to be polished. It needs to be
It has to be perfect.
Love it.
Like
Love
while
that.
I might be smiling, something might not be going right. You will never know.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Libby?
I think to the point of, like how do you put on a show, how do you entertain? I think there's room for both in any given person. Obviously I am not like no one is super positive and perfect and happy all the time. I don't always say the right thing, but like cameras on, hey guys, what's up? Like I might be having a real crappy day. Still not sure on the cursing rule. But and all right, we're cool. But
It's probably the last time I'm going to do
there's this idea of
Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh boy. But there's this idea of obviously you want to be a real person, you want to entertain and be yourself, or be a character and whatever you want to do. But I think on stream there's a level of showmanship that everyone tries to put on. You obviously don't come in here and you're like, hey guys, I'm having a real garbage day, let's play some Street Fighter. Like, no one does that. But there's an idea that whatever it is, I'm kind of hearing you talk about like, oh, like I really love acting. Like, it's less about either putting on a character or aggressively being yourself, and more about like doing what makes your, like, this is super hip, like what makes your soul excited about streaming? What makes you go like, yes, I want to stream today? Like
what resonates with you?
Sure, and people pick up on that. If they see you, like if you started doing RP because it was the cool thing to do on Twitch, but you didn't have your heart in it, they'd be like, wow, this guy sucks. And it's like, you might be the best actor ever, but they would see that you're not being genuine about it. And so I think whatever kind of persona you take on, whether it's a character, a roleplay character, just kind of being you, hanging out with a cup of coffee and your viewers, as long as you're doing what what gets you hype about streaming, like that's what I think translates most. And then the rest is just sort of tech stuff, right? Whether you want production or character or just chilling, but that there's almost this like extra like life behind what you're creating. And I think that makes a huge difference.
I agree.
Future man?
I figured out how to turn on my mic. So now it's turned on.
That's it. That's how we entertain.
They weren't supposed to figure that out.
I figured it out. Okay. Yeah, I think for me, it was always an interesting question of like, okay, how much of this is me putting on a show and being an entertaining character versus how much of it is it just me. I think that most streamers would say that you're always at least a little bit like an amped up version of yourself. You're trying to be engaging. And so for me, sometimes I would be out of like crazy, like with the green screen, all insane effects and really taking it to this crazy level that would just, people be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? But you're making waves, you know? You're making waves. And for me, that was key in you know, creating this opportunity that has now grown into something that I can do full time, and I've been doing full time for a while. And so I'd say trying to be different, especially today on Twitch. Like I was saying before, it's just there's a lot of people all trying to stream, and the way that it's set up is if you're starting off today right now, you are way behind everybody else. But you can start right now. And I'd say that there are still new streams, you know, every day, every couple of days that people are coming up with different unique ideas. Twitch is creating different spaces for you to create your own unique voice with the IRL section and creative section. And then it's just about starting somewhere, and it's not gonna, for most people, blow up overnight. For me, it took about 6 months before I had a couple of videos go viral. And then Twitch sort of took notice of those and put me on the front page, and from there it's just, you know, constant dedication and being on time and letting your viewers know when you're streaming and having a schedule and really sort of finding your niche. I am still in the variety, which is tough because certain people don't like certain games, so they won't be tuning in. So you're really trying to grab those viewers just for who you are as an entertaining person and as a personality. So I've definitely found this nice balance where it's like, if the Future Man thing is working, or if it makes more sense, then you bring more Future Man to the table. A lot of times, because you're streaming, you know, 6, 7, 8 hours, that's a long time to be Future Man. That's a long time to be a man from the future. And so what I've also done is I've sort of found this space on Twitch where I do music streams, where it's this sort of psychedelic audio-visual show where I'm controlling the visuals and I bring in guest DJs. And so even as I'm continuing to do my normal gaming stuff, I'm also always trying to look for the next thing. And I think that's an important thing to do, trying to be one step ahead.
Cool. On my side, entertainment just means like, can I evoke emotion, some kind of response when somebody comes to my stream? Like every stream I feel like is a revolving door. People come in, they give you a chance, whether it be like a few seconds, 30 seconds, whatever, or like, you know, the rest of the day, and they leave. And that's your opportunity to try and like, you know, get them to feel something, whether like at my channel, I try to make them feel like what's going to happen next, anticipation, like they can like, you know, either place a bet whether they can win or what's going to happen next in the scenario, or it's just like, can I get them to feel something? Because the worst thing I think is someone to go into a channel, go in there, feel nothing, and then just leave. And that's it. You've made no impression. You need to make, and it's hard to do because you have to be like always on. And it's so tricky
for a long time. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just constant revolving door. So it's like, what are you passionate about? What can you do to like evoke this emotion from someone who may come in at any second? And I feel like that's like the key.
It's interesting you mentioned that sort of staying ahead of your audience, almost like finding that rhythm, that cadence of expectation and response, and tapping into it to sort of, you know, to know that threshold of potential boredom. Like if I was to stream, if I was to attempt to stream, I would know instantly when I'd be bored by myself. Right. You know, I would just be like, I'm boring myself right now. I need to do something like a jumping jack or I don't know what, just to be more interesting. And it's kind of interesting to watch as the idea of streaming evolves and it becomes more commonplace and people become really, really good at it, to see how they tap into that cadence and rhythm and how they change things up and how they find that new pace to get you know, the participants, the audience more involved in. And then the other thing that the theme that seems to emerge here is like, you know, I have a film and television background before I got into AAA game development, and one of the interesting things is like when you do film and TV and you have an actor portraying a part, it's not a part of their choosing. You know, you are playing the badass detective. You are playing, I don't know, wall climbing, crazy criminal, whatever. You don't choose that role. You just do your best to step into it and then define it. But then you look at, you know, you look at streamers and you look at how they create a role, and it's not necessarily like out of thin air. It might be something you're creating a role that might resonate more with you, so it feels more honest rather than something that is fabricated and put in front of you. So like with the example of Future Man, it's like, sure, you could have picked anything.
Right.
You could have dressed up in, I don't know, whatever. But, you know, what was it? What was the...
Power
Falcon.
Yeah.
You chose
Power
not
Falcon.
to do that because potentially it did not resonate with you. But
Makes
for some
sense.
reason, the Future Man thing, it taps into some sort of nerve, some sort of bone. And then when you
Yeah.
present it, the audience instantly resonates more with it because it is coming from something inside rather than something that you just...
Yeah, it's sort of just like, I like sci-fi. I
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Classic, you know, retro, future, synthwave, and that Kung Fury 80s movie.
Totally.
You know,
And so many people love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people like that, and
Yeah.
so it resonates with those people.
Right.
Other people come and say, "This sucks,"
Yeah.
and then okay, leave.
Yeah.
You know, then you think I suck? That's fine.
It's interesting.
It
So
happens.
one other thing I kind of want to talk about too, since you know, again, AAA dev here. So you know, we on JC3, Just Cause 3, we tapped into a very large streaming community in order to promote the game because creating Just Cause 3, what we try to do is we have like this sort of ultimate player freedom. It's like always one of our goals to never focus the player too much on an objective, to always allow them to approach any objective any way they want, which basically creates a very free and open environment. So it's like the perfect environment for a streamer to jump in and just do whatever, you know, attach, you know, rockets to a cow's ass and watch it go fly off. I just cursed. You can't stop me. Nobody can. Oh my God, everything turned off.
Like a scoreboard.
I didn't know it was this way. So you know, so we reached out to the streaming community to find streamers to stream the game, and it's becoming more and more commonplace where publishers, developers will reach out to the streaming community to present their games, and there's a lot. This is going to be a loaded question, and just bear with me here because there's a lot of ground to cover. But have you ever worked with publishers or other developers to potentially show off a game before its release? And then B, what has that experience been like? Have you been given the freedom to play the game as you see fit, present it the way you want to, or has there been some sort of constraints and mandates for please play the game this way and present it this way in the best possible light? So let's start on this side of the room,
Sure.
since we always start on that side.
So the answer is, like, for me at least, it depends. Like, there's two types where, like, you know, maybe any developer reaches out and goes like, hey, I have this cool game, put my heart into it, I'd love to give it a shot. I'll take a look, and if I feel like it might be something I enjoy too, give it a shot. And you know, it's usually pretty clear that like I'm just gonna do what I can about it, like share it and have fun in it, and go from there. And then there's the other side of it where it's like more of like a paid thing of like, you know, a big AAA publisher going like, hey, we have this game, we want to get like, you know, exposure on day one, et cetera. And you know, it depends. If it's like a thing where they give it free, it's like, cool, I'm going to be really honest about this game, regardless. If you want to go with that rate, you know, I'll go for it. Or if it's like a paid thing, it's like, all right, they want to cover X, Y, and Z points, I'm cool with that. I disclose that, hey, this is a paid thing, I'm enjoying the game, or I might not like this part, but it's like very clearly a paid thing. So it just depends. So if it's more indie, it's more real, I feel like. If it's like, you know, a paid thing, then, you know, I think it's clear to everyone that I'm trying to like, you know, show off the most positive aspects of the game.
Sure.
And make money. So,
Yeah.
you know, just want to, you know, like,
Yeah.
sides like that.
It's work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that you know, in my community, when I'm doing something sponsored, they know that I'm choosing it because I'm thinking that I'm gonna like it, and then that they're going to like it. I'm in a good enough place where I can sort of be picky with what I choose to stream in terms of paid promotional stuff. Because there's a lot of, and I don't know if a lot of viewers on Twitch know this, but there's a lot of like garbage offers as well for like crappy mobile games and stuff. I it would be really hard to be like, hey, check out this free to play. There's all sorts of microtransactions.
Doesn't matter how far. It doesn't matter how far in the future you're coming from. But
people see the bullshit.
I'm from 3,000 years in the future. Check out this mobile game. 0 viewers.
So yeah, it's it depends on what you stream and what your community is like. But I think that people that watch me know that helps me to continue doing what I like to do, and they can always just, if they're not digging it, they can peace out for that day and come back later. And devs are always super cool for the most part when it comes to trying to.
Very cool.
Just Cause 3, that's especially. Super cool. Gonna need some free games. That's all right.
Free on PSN right now for all
there we
PlayStation
go.
4 owners.
There's the plug. But yeah, you get on these mailing groups and meeting people at conventions. I think has been huge for me, especially just going up and introducing myself and FutureMan and getting to know them on a personal level, and then you get those game keys, sometimes even early a little bit, which can be huge. Because then you got viewers who are interested in the game coming in, they see your stream, they like you, and then they end up sticking around. So yeah, working with devs is super important.
Yeah. I think that the early point that you just made is incredibly helpful when something is launching, to say, oh, we're doing a streamer program. But if you're doing a streamer program on the day the game for real launches for everyone, you're going to have a streamer program anyway because all these other people are going to play it. So kind of something exclusive, even if it's a single day ahead of time, that people are going to want to see it and come in. But I think the idea that whatever the game is that someone's like, if you're approaching streamers or a streamer's going to approach a game company, that the content aligns with the channel, whether it's free or it's paid. I've done a couple of things where it's like, oh yeah, we'll give you a key and play the game and give honest feedback, and that's great. But there are also times that I've even said, I'm like, my community doesn't like this. I don't personally like this genre of game. No, like, it's just not going to work. So I think there's a level of authenticity that's important in working with games where, if, like, for example, I don't play horror games because they stick with me and I have nightmares for weeks. It's just my life. So if someone comes to me and says, will you play this game? Like, you're going to pee your pants because it's so scary. I'm going to say, no, thank you. Like, it's not.
I like my pants.
I appreciate
my
desk chair. We're just not doing that.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a level of, whether it's free or it's paid, making sure that it's something that connects with that person. Like, hey, like, I don't stream mobile games. I don't stream this. I don't stream this category. And the idea of like, oh, well, they're just going to pay me to play whatever and I'll just take it is not something that I think a lot of streamers are going to be interested in. So I think from a developer side, seeking out streamers that are going to be meaningful for your game, hey, I noticed you play X. It's very similar to our game coming out that is Y. And I think that makes a difference where rather than just contacting, I think it was the Bart said earlier, just contacting like the top 50 streamers and hoping someone responds, finding someone in those communities that might overlap or elements of the game that are similar will get you a better streamer authenticity. Right. Even if it is paid and they have to say the nice things, it's at least coming from a place that I like this category.
Sure.
All right, for me, I get to work with a lot of game companies, mainly Bandai Namco. Recently, they hired me to stream Dragon Ball FighterZ. So,
Nice.
I tend to work very closely with Bandai Namco as well as Capcom and a few others. They tend to, just shower me with games since I'm somewhat of an influencer within the fighting game community. So if I'm playing it and loving it and enjoying it, they feel that the community would actually want in on it. I've actually had my hands on several other games early. I would say that most of them are paid, and it works out, but the thing is, a lot of times the free ones are never really that great, only because I feel like sometimes they rush the game and they just want to get it out and they want to get into as many people's hands, so it doesn't really, and a lot of times I don't connect with the game because most of the time it's not a fighting game. So I mainly spend most of my time playing fighting games and first-person shooters. So if it's not either one of those two things, I tend to not want to play it, and I get a lot of mobile online battle games or
Mobile's getting a bad rep today. Let's just throw it out there right now.
and
Anybody who wants to stream mobile games, you have your own little thing.
yeah, because I
going
feel
on
like
right
with
now,
League
because
of
nobody else
Legends, Dota 2, with those two games, you're pretty much covered. Like, if you want to play something else, fine, go ahead, knock yourself out. But I feel like if the game does not suit you and the audience that you've built off of those games, it's not really worth it. Even if it is a paid one, it's not worth it. Because it's not going to be an authentic feeling for you, and it's not going to give the developer the right insight on who they should be targeting the game for and things like that. So if you are a streamer and you do get offered something, make sure that it's right for you and for your audience.
Well, can I just add to that? Sorry. Just the idea that if you took something, for example, that's paid as in that category, like I don't play that, but someone wants to pay me to do it, sure, whatever, I need to eat. Your community is going to see that too. And like they might spam sell out in your chat, or they might just harbor that judgment on the inside and not say anything to you and then leave your community. And like for, especially as your people are trying to grow and trying to establish themselves in this super saturated market, people stick to a streamer for who they are. Yeah, I love this game, so that's why I watch this person, but they'll stick to a streamer for who they are. And if they see that you're kind of straying away from being true to yourself, then I think that's also going to be detrimental to your internal community as well. It's not going to help the devs, and it's not going to help you.
In the fighting game community, we call it shilling.
What shilling?
Yeah,
Shilling,
it's called
yeah.
shilling.
Shilling.
It's been going on a lot lately.
Sorry, go ahead.
Called out.
Wow. So I'm on both sides of this of the question. So I've worked with a dev or development team. I don't want to say the name, yes, because I just don't want to do that. But I have worked with a development team where I helped with input on certain with characters, naming.
There are characters in this development team you don't want to name. They're characters.
And I had it was good with the dev team. I went to the studios. I put my input, helped with even balancing. It's kind of a combat type mobile game.
That's why it's not saying it.
I won't go into any of that because
I already know what it is.
And I invested a lot of time with the studio. I mean, went to the studio, had time, streamed the event, and it was great. My biggest thing when you're working with a developer and a studio that knows this game is going to come out is like a developer keeping secrets or trying to hide type of what really they're doing. So if you're going to be a developer and you're going to reach out to a broadcaster, there's a message to the developers out here, because I think that we need to know this. If you're going to reach out to a streamer, be honest with that streamer. Don't lie to that streamer, because somebody always finds out. Someone always tells that information, and then another streamer is not going to work with you, and then someone else is going to learn that. Someone else is not going to work with you, and you're going to end up just kind of like getting a bad rap without even having launched your game yet. So like,
is it like a misinformation thing? Like hey, the game works like this, and it doesn't actually work like that.
It's like basically they'll tell you that okay, now we'll go to the paid part. So okay, we're gonna pay you to do X and X, right, or X and Y, whatever. And then you do what your part is, and they're like, oh well, you just didn't. Your entertainment value wasn't high enough, so we're just not going to do this.
I see what you mean.
And then you're like wondering, like, what? But this guy just did this, and this guy just did that, and why you do the same thing? Oh yeah, but you just no. Like it's like Peter Griffin when he hurts his knee, like like they don't want to.
I mean, they're paying you for you, and then all of a sudden they're saying is not what we were expecting.
And now
we wanted more.
And it's just not me. I don't want to sound like I'm some like scorned person. I just say that it happens. People want to get their game out so much. They want to get influencers involved. They want to get their product out there that they're really just they overlook their responsibilities when they were first starting to that streamer that they decided they wanted to work with. So now the streamer feels a little like, wow, what did I do wrong, or stuff like that. So being honest with the people you want to work with, for me, in any facet of entertainment is important. So if you're a developer, tell the streamer exactly what you want from them and what exactly they can get out of it. If it's an affiliate or if it's a sponsor or if it's whatever, say that. Because if you keep a streamer in the dark and now he's asking questions, he's not enjoying the game at that moment, because he's like, okay, I want to play this game. I'm going to stream this game. It's a paid product, but I haven't got paid yet. When's it going to happen? And then you call your contact and you're like, the guy's never picking up or whatever, you're like, okay, now the game launches, you know what, oh yeah, it was great working with you, and then you're like, what just happened, you know, and it happens. I'm not, again, it's happened to me, but it's happened to a lot of people, so if you're a dev, just be honest with the people you want to work with. And
I think it's a fair ask.
yeah, I think it has, I know it's one of those things that people don't like to say, but I think that it's clear. We want to work with indie developers. We want to work with AAA. We want to work with yourself. Even though I'm an RP streamer, on the weekends I try to, cut down the episodic stuff for tension for Monday. So, oh my God, what happened on Friday? Oh my God, it's gonna happen whatever Monday. So on Saturdays and Sundays, I'll try to do whatever, play some PUBG or whatever, or if I have an opportunity, I'll go ahead on a weekend to do that. But I just think that we as entertainers and as people who are trying to make a living broadcasting and promoting and influencing, we just want to be spoken to honestly. I know that's in a perfect world, whatnot, but I'm just saying, you treat us that way with a lot of respect, and we will convey a lot of entertainment when we play your game in front of a lot of people.
Makes sense. So let's get a little dirty here. Oh, we got a question. Oh, we have 5 minutes. All right, we have 5 minutes. That's plenty of time.
He was all like,
That's plenty of time to get dirty.
The five raising hands.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you don't know.
on the topic of streaming and this sort of vocation and this sort of career that's growing for more and more people and people that are interested in getting involved in, when it comes to AAA game development, one of the things we do is we always look at the future and forecast trends to understand exactly what we're going to do next, to understand if it's going to land, if it's going to be successful. And it's kind of crappy to think about that way, but it is important from a technical business perspective to approach everything in that format. Now, streaming and the idea of building an audience and having a subscribership and all that, it's still relatively young. It's a super young career. Have you all thought about where it's, you spend so much time doing it as your profession. Have you thought about where it's going to go? What is eventually going to fray and break and have to evolve and change? Like, have you thought about things like that as far as looking down the road? I'm going to start with Libby.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. We went off the system.
We're
this
going
time.
middle. We went left, right?
I was
This is
ready
the
for
fairness.
like a 2-person wait
Nope.
on either side.
Nope.
So I think all of us can say yes, we've thought about it. I don't think that would be incorrect. But I think actually I want to go off Ghost's point about being honest and interacting with streamers or who, what you're going to do an activation with. Like I said, beyond my own stream, I also effectively represent a team of women. So working on sponsorships that help this entire bubble of like tiny to huge streamers to all kind of get better and grow or whatever, reach their goals. And there was actually a really interesting discussion that showed up in my Twitter timeline yesterday about the campaign of like exposure doesn't pay my bills. And like free keys are awesome, and free keys for honest feedback are fantastic. And that is all your studio can do. That's great. I'm sure that's very meaningful on the development side. It's very meaningful on the streamer side. But one of my campaigns with my team, and that I loved seeing other people pick up on in this, I have to remember who it was, is the idea that free stuff is not enough. These are people who are trying to make a living off of this, and if it's something, even if it means your activation is smaller and with slightly larger, more impactful streamers, fewer people on a larger scale, giving I guess what I'm saying with what is the future, right? Is that I think this idea of like throwing a bone to people and hoping that they promote your game for free, I would love to see that go away.
Yep.
I think it's this idea of like,
I like that.
It's important. I mean,
Swiftor's so mad. It needs to go away.
see, I can't see that side, so I'm hoping that's mad at the concept and not mad at the answer.
The concept. That's the concept.
I think that
Yeah.
I think it makes perfect sense.
what I think is tough, and again, I will speak from kind of the middle size and like, the baby of the group is like, it's tons of people are ready and willing to demonstrate what it would look like to try a game out on stream and tell their audiences about it, and they have the audience size that, for example, a smaller indie game would want to reach. And to almost reserve the idea of payment or affiliate coding or partnership in some way where like, and this is not with game developers, but more with like peripherals, but like taking that person to the con with you so they can play your game at your booth. That's a way of paying someone. I didn't have to go to that convention on my own dime. So you don't have to write everybody a check for their entire rent every month just to play your
But you
smaller
can make it
game.
easier on
But
them.
you can make it easier on the person and get meaningful interaction with their community and with the community you're trying to reach with your game. And that is what I think I would love to see become the norm rather than the, wow, they're actually paying you, that a lot of us frequently kind of go back and forth with.
So that pretty much blew all 5 minutes, but I still want to hear. I still want to hear what everybody says. So I'm time boxing. I'm gonna go to Andre. You got a minute. What's the?
What's the?
We're good. We're good on time. I got
what?
two different groups
What's the
here
what?
fighting over. Somebody tackle me.
What's the what?
Well, so the basic question I was asking was as you analyze this career that you're in and as you watch it grow and evolve, what bothers you about it? What trends do you see being unsuccessful or being or overregulated or underregulated, or how do you see this thing changing for the worse, and how do you avoid that?
I see a lot of developers basically doing what they always do. They'll go to the top 100 and basically get them to show for them. It's kind of like, I love Twitch. I love everything about it. It's just that, I don't know, like, I feel that a lot of the new streamers, it's like they don't get that type of recognition. In order for you to find them, you have to find the game that they're playing, and then you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom. So a lot of times they're playing like League of Legends or Dota 2 or something like that, which are always the top two games in there. You have to go into Dota, and you have to go all the way down to the bottom, which is like 20 some odd pages of people that you got to go through and you got to find them. I feel that when a developer is looking for someone, I feel that they need to find like those people. Find those people who could be enthusiastic, which is me. Find someone who is playing something and having, like, let's say they're having a hard time getting into that top 100. Like, okay, this game is kind of like this game. You find someone that's playing a game that's similar to it. You get someone from that lower on the pole. You give them this game, and they could possibly break out because of that. So I feel that's the one change that could possibly come from developers when they approach streamers.
So you think, so just to summarize that, it's like it's basically it's a market, and just like any other market, nobody takes any risks.
Right.
But taking risks is usually what proves to be the most profitable for everybody. Exactly. Okay, that's interesting. It's an interesting point.
Wow. I want to make sure I'm kind of right along. Okay, so personally, me streaming, I want to keep on doing this, growing it, so that I can make a brand and it can transcend gaming. It can transcend just Twitch. It could be something that people be like, oh, look at that shirt, that's hot, look at that hat, or maybe into acting, maybe into commercials, maybe into actual like screenplay stuff. That is my future end goal, growing into this whole thing, because I just love being part of that type of atmosphere, and doing it on Twitch is a plus. What I don't think I like so much sometimes is, touch a little bit on it, is that everyone needs to make money. From the big streamers need to make money, and the smaller guy needs to be discovered. And that's how I see it. So there's the top 100, or that 1% people talk about. Those guys that they work their asses off to get there. I'm not gonna, you don't take anything away from streamers that have busted ass day in and day out and are that top of those guys, because they deserve that type of love. I mean, they didn't wake up, well, today's my stream, oh my God, 100,000 people show up out of nowhere. They've done this before. These guys, they did their homework, they did their thing, and they achieved what they needed to achieve with hard work. So we give, and I will always give those people props. But on the developer side, I would like to say, yeah, get those people that you want to go ahead and know that you need, because a business aspect, you want people to see your game. So if you got a guy that has 25,000 viewers, it makes sense to say, hey, bro, can we talk for a minute? I want 25,000 people to see my game. But on that same note, maybe you can help develop a smaller stream. Maybe this game, for this one day, yeah, you promote it with the bigger streamer, but maybe you can go ahead and make a development team for specifics. Feature in-game a smaller broadcast. Okay, this guy's gonna work with our production company, or he's gonna work with our game. He's decided he wanted to sign with us exclusively, and he's gonna be learning our game, and then he's gonna be able to help you guys with the game. And it's just, for a developer, I think, in my opinion, is that he should maybe make that development team with bigger, a mix, not just going for the top, successful streamers, but also those that are working really hard. Do some homework. Okay, okay, streamer A, he doesn't have a big viewership, but I just noticed that he's on 8 days a week. 6 days a week, eight hours.
The hustle's real.
You know what I'm saying.
It just comes on wheels. Just moving around into the bathroom, into the shower. Just never.
Come on, man. I streamed 8 days a week. It's okay. But 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. Come on, those guys are worth investing in because they'll always work. They'll get good, and you have a team now that can talk. Okay, let's strategize. What's good? What's not good? And they can have the pulse of a community. While it's great to have a promoted guy, but if your community doesn't have a pulse, doesn't have that guy to go to, then really you're kind of missing something. And I think that's what I think developers need and what's missing.
That's an interesting point. I like it. From the future.
Yeah.
This is your specialty, man. This question's for you.
From the future.
Yeah, no,
I hate
You're crafting
spoilers
the
though.
future.
So.
No,
Wow.
Game of Thrones is
None
tonight,
here.
so.
No, I won't say anything. I'd say something that you see in a lot of new broadcasters is this sense of like, I deserve more viewers, I guess. That I think just, no, you don't.
That's what we call ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot of hard work and always a little bit of luck in there, but you create your own opportunities, I would say. And so, I think make yourself the best version of yourself as possible and see what happens. I also hope that VR keeps doing well on Twitch, because I think that VR is going to be really sick. It's going to be really cool. And plus, sometimes it sucks sitting down for so long when you're streaming. That's another thing. I guess that's one thing that sucks about it. Is
VR is more ergonomically
VR,
correct
right?
for
Yeah.
a streamer.
you can get up and move
Let's
around
get
a little
the
bit
VR
too,
going,
so
yeah.
That's what I got to say about
Right.
it. Yeah.
And cool. I'll also just touch on the future. Like, the medium's always changing how people consume things, right? Like, 10, 15 years ago, it was like, blogs were the big thing. Then, like, now we see the surge of, like, live streams, other platforms getting on that. And with VR coming, there's, like, so much opportunities, right? Like, while I'm playing GTA, can someone put on some, like, lightweight glasses and be in, like, my backseat, my driver's seat, kind of, like, playing with me? Will they be wearing, like, AR glasses and kind of, like, in an environment with me? Or, like, what's going to change? And you just don't know what's really going to happen. There's all these bets. But, I mean, I think you just have to keep your eyes on, like, what's going on around you, be ready to adapt to it. Because it's such a new thing, and you just always have to be ready. And at the end of the day, it's just all about how, like, people can, like, like, connect and consume this entertainment and become part of, like, a bigger thing. So, answers I don't know, but I'm excited.
Really cool. I think, yeah. Oh, we got questions. Yeah.
Everybody here is based in or around New York, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about what it's like to be a streamer in New York. I know there's a NYC streamer meetup.
Yep.
Obviously, the Twitch community is online, but you're all still here. I'd like to hear a little bit more about what it's like to be a streamer in New York and why you love being one here.
So the question is, what's it like to be a streamer in New York? Let's start with Future Man.
Yeah, I never thought I'd really be living in New York. So I'm kind of just loving it. I'm loving it. I mean, I love the Ninja Turtles growing up, and I love pizza. And so two good things.
Those are great things.
And
Those are
you're
great
right,
things.
and that's it. No,
He's not easy. He's instant.
the city is expensive. It's expensive to live here, but in my opinion, it's worth that extra cost because there's so much to do. There's so much to see, especially with IRL stuff happening on Twitch and how easy it is to just stream from your phone now. I have been doing and been planning on doing more of these IRL streams where I can get out. It's also good to show people New York City. This is such a diverse and amazing city to be in. There's people from all over the world, and you get cultures from everywhere. And the food is so good. The food is so good.
The food is
So
good.
That's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Confirm.
Can confirm. Right. We have confirmation.
Yeah.
Swiftor.
It's kind of strange, right? Like, New York City, over 8 million people. Yet it's also, at least for me, it's been like really isolating. Like I don't need to leave my home. I'm there, and I'm kind of like, you know, food comes to me. Like I don't need to go far to do anything, and I'm just like in my home. It's this like it's a big city, I feel like it's hard to kind of reach out to like this dense community, and that's kind of reason like I love that there's like, you know, a meetup, I can meet new people and everything like that. But it's tough. Like there's so much convenience and so much going on that's almost just like you're paralyzed. It's like, all right, I'm just gonna get up and do the same thing I do every day. So it's a little hard to get excited about things outside of like, you know, building your stream. So it's a little tricky. Just kind of like there's a world, like this is like the capital of the world, and sometimes you just need like a little push to kind of like take advantage of it. So it's like every day.
It's good to step outside the door and be like, hey, there's New York.
Absolutely.
It's interesting you mentioned that because it's such a dissonant concept because you want to be there, accessible to your audience at all. You want to work hard,
right,
and always be present, and at the same time, you don't want to just always be in that one spot. You kind of want to get out and experience things for yourself. So it's this strange sort of dissonant relationship to your career and your lifestyle that I don't think anybody's really mastered yet, but it is something that people are trying to do.
Right.
Interesting. Libby?
Yeah, so you said in and around New York, because regrettably, I'm not a New Yorker, I'm from New Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey, too.
Okay, cool. All right. Whew, I was like a little nervous. Not
I mean, we should still be
admitting that I'm
nervous
not
because we're both from
from
Jersey,
here.
but yeah.
We gotta hide a little bit. But I mean, honestly, I didn't live in this area when I started streaming. I lived in DC, and so I remember being like this little baby streamer who like didn't know anybody and trying to find a meetup there, and I couldn't find anything. And I had friends back home who were New York, Jersey, right? This bubble. And we're like, yeah, there's a streaming meetup. And I have, some of them have had to skip, it's just travel stuff, but it's like, it's so nice to see, even though I technically don't count as a New York City streamer, right? I mean, like, whatever, but I'm a train right away. And to see that, like, I can go meet people and I can go do something that helps. I mean, like, no one wants to, right? Those meetups help you build each other up and not build one person up. That's never the reason to go to a meetup, but to build the collective, group up and to make a friend and to, find somebody else that you might have in your community. And to have that in the New York area is just so nice. And even just to say like, oh, we've got a con in our backyard. Like I don't have to fly somewhere to go to a gaming convention right now. I can just, take a train, and it's so nice to just have that. So thank y'all for doing that for us.
For me, I do a lot of events outside of New York, but to do this one here was very special to me. I do a lot like of IRL streams. Sometimes when I'm like walking around here in New York, and I've actually started doing a lot of drone streams. So I recently
That's not legal.
I recently purchased a DJI Mavic, and I basically fly where I am allowed to fly.
Loosely defined.
Saved it. That was close.
I can fly over the water, so that's pretty much what I can do. So I get nice views of Manhattan and things like that from the water, as long as it's not near the Brooklyn Bridge in Manhattan. So I have to find my way around it, but I make sure and I show people like outside of New York how beautiful New York is from the sky, not just from the ground.
I mean, it's nice. The only reason I threw that at you is because I just bought a DJI Mavic as well.
Yeah.
And I totally got sighted. I got nabbed right out of the sky. I was just getting your back. That's all. I don't want anything happening in your drone.
I mean, you just got to know where to take off from.
Also,
Keyword.
Don't drink and drone either. That's also a bad idea.
Yeah.
I'll learn that the first week.
I'm from New Jersey too.
All right.
Okay.
Hey.
That's 50%.
Hey, don't worry about it. We're from Jersey. It's all good.
Hey, Jay-Z, how you doing?
I want to say New York streaming, New York changed my life. I want to say that right off the bat. I got dedicated after meeting Swiftor in person.
Oh wow.
At a Twitch meetup.
Oh, look at this.
And I was struggling as a streamer, ready to quit. True story.
I remember this.
Well, people know. I was ready to quit. I turned on my stream and was giving my goodbye stream. Straight up.
Real talk.
And so almost 100 people showed up. You can't do that. People from the streamer meetings, no, you can't do that. I was like, but it sucks. I suck. I can't do it. And I remember just like being floored emotionally. And I remember just like saying, "Is this real? Do people really care?" And like New York and all the people that I've never met in my life came over and they were like you need to keep on. Bifuteki, another guy who was on the phone with me, like, dude, like you got something going. You need to like eat out that feeling. Everyone starts at zero. Everybody starts with bad panels, bad art, bad notifications. We all do that. If I never went to the New York Streamer Meetup, if I never decided that I wanted to get out of Jersey and go into New York and follow my dream, follow what I needed to do to change my life, I don't think I would be here and travel the country now the way I'm doing it. And I meet Swiftor, I see FutureMan, we go to conventions, I mean TwitchCon, the PAX.
You guys can hug. I won't stop you.
we see each other like, man, what's going on? And you see where you come from. You see where it could have been if you just did the easy thing and said, you know what, I quit. You know?
Mm.
And then it's easy, right? It's easy to say it's too hard. It's easy to say today is just a day I decide I want to move on. But it's that extra strength you find with people that are like-minded and respect what you're trying to do. And I found that in New York. Man, I'm from Jersey, but I give props to New York for helping me get that New York strength. So
East Coast love. There it is. There it is. We have time for other questions, or we should wrap. We should wrap. Well, thank you all for being here. I think it's been very informative for our audience out there that's interested in this particular profession. I wish you all the best of luck, and enjoy the rest of Play NYC.
Thanks for being awesome.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Thanks again to all the streamers and all the speakers we had, and that is a wrap on Play NYC's Talks and Panels stream for 2017. You can check out play-nyc.com for info about 2018, and for more info on the organizers, follow us at Playcrafting. Thanks so much. See you in 2018.
So much respect for you watching this stream as you run the stream, as you're on the stream. I mean, I was going to call it out, but I didn't want to blow you up. So he's working while I was working. Lydia's very happy. Hey, you got to follow you all. Dave.
Oh, no way. Awesome. Nice to meet you. Have you been talking to Dan at all? Or? Oh, no way. Okay, I've known Dan was doing. I know Dan did a lot of the conversations with Twitch, but I wasn't sure who was. Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for coming out. Did you get a chance to check out the show floor? Yeah, we're very happy. It was a long ride. Not like that. Cool. So, how long have you been working on Twitch? Okay, cool. Well, we do. I mean, this came out of Play NYC. We've been running expos at the Microsoft Center for like the last 4 years, and they were getting 12 to 1,500 people, and so that was we were like, let's do it. So we're planning on making this a yearly thing, and want to keep growing it. So I'm sure we could love to talk about anything we can do to help. And a lot of those developers that were there, I mean, over half of them, I would say, have been a part of the Playcrafting community for, years. So it's really awesome. Yeah, where are you at in the city? Oh, cool. I'm in Forest Hills. Overall.